Hello, everybody. This is Young Family Taiji Basics. So we are really going to go with basics. So the first thing we're going to talk about is greetings and salute. Okay. So first you have the salute. And what is the salute? The salute is the union of the fist and the paper, which is the Wen and Wu, so the civil and the martial. Okay, so from the Chinese perspective, you need both in order to have a functioning society. So the martial side is the fist. So you draw your fingers together and you put your thumb across the front. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to form a very flat surface so that when you punch, you can see that it's flat and you have a big surface to distribute your punch, right? And the other side is the hand that shows the paper. And so when you make your salute, you put your feet together and your fist is covered by the paper and your thumb is hidden to show humility. Okay, so that's what the salute looks like. Stand together, hands come together, the fist covered by the paper, the thumb hidden, and you offer this. That's the salute. Okay, so you make and offer. And this has a counterpart in the West. The counterpart in the West is when you greet someone, you extend your hand. What is that? That means that your sword hand is empty. Okay, so you're coming in peace, right? So the greeting is in the beginning of the class, I salute you and I say 同学们好, which is students hello. And your response is 老师好, which is teacher hello. And to bookend this, at the end of class, I will say 同学们再见, which is students goodbye. And you will respond 老师再见. Okay, so I want to try it. You put your feet together, make your fist, cover with your hand, hide your thumb, present, and I say 同学们好. And you respond. And you respond 老师好.
老师好.
Oh, 老师好. Okay? So that's the beginning. The next thing is, what is Taiji? So in the classics, they say that Taiji comes from Wuji and is the mother of yin and yang. So Wuji is no pole. Taiji is ultimate pole. So they are the two ends, right? Wuji means no form, no movement, nothing. Taiji is the interplay between yin and yang. So it's like the dynamic balance of a duality. So I have a good word for yin, but not so good for yang. Okay. My translation for yin is shadow. And I like shadow. Hi, Maria.
Hi.
I like shadow because shadow implies light. you cannot have a shadow without light, right? But the word light does not imply darkness, right? So the word that approximates it for me is either glow or radiance. So if you think of something glowing, it's the light that comes out of darkness, right? So you have that sense of the connection between the two. So, what are the properties of yin and yang? Yin and yang have interdependence. So, you cannot have yin without yang and vice versa. It's like you can't have day without night and vice versa. Okay. The second property is that each restricts the other. In other words, the end of day is defined by night and vice versa. And the third thing is transmutation. When one reaches its limit, it becomes the other. So when day reaches its limit, it starts becoming night, and vice versa. So there are lots of things that have yin and yang properties, right? Think of breathing. When you breathe, you can't imagine inhaling without exhaling. And inhaling and exhaling limit each other. And when you get to the end of one, it becomes the other. So in the earliest writings about, I shouldn't say the earliest writings about that had the idea of yin and yang were like Shang Dynasty, which is like 3000 BC. But the Yi Jing basically describes yin and yang as being the continuous motion that basically powers the universe. Okay. So if we think of Taiji as being this transformation of yin and yang, one becoming the other, then we should think about, well, how do you do that? How can you get that energy going? And one of the basic concepts for Taiji is Fang Song. Fang Song is loosely translated as relax. And relax in a very particular way. Relax means that your body is aligned and your fascia is connected so that you are ready to move. Okay. And if you think about something having a kink in it, it won't move very well, right? So you want to basically straighten out all your kinks and get your muscles loose enough that they can move freely. And what you're doing in prepare is Fang Song. You are basically structuring your body, relaxing your muscles so that they're ready to move. And that's what you do before you start the form. So, how do you practice Fang Song? And the way you do that is zhuang, which is standing. So standing essentially shows you what your body shape should be. So if you think about your, how do you, how do you show energy? Your energy comes from your feet, and it's basically strengthened through your legs and commanded by your waist and uh, shown in your fingers. So it comes from your feet, and it and your waist commands it. So it shows the direction, and what you see is how it comes out your hand. Okay. So in order to have everything structured so that things come out properly, if you think of a whip, okay, when you have energy go in the handle of a whip, it comes out the tip, right? Your hand is the tip. And your feet have to be stable so that the energy can come through. So how do we make sure that your feet are stable? You should, as part of the exercise of standing, what you should do is you should stand with your feet shoulder width apart and facing forward. So they should be parallel and facing forward. Then you should make sure that your knees are lined up with your toes so that you are not either out here or in here, okay? You want things to be lined up. Then you want to raise your head. So think about raising your head and gazing out in infinity, okay? And with the raising of your head, the rest of your body from your neck down sinks. So your head is light and the rest of your body is sinking. And when you have that feeling, what happens with your arms? And when you have standing practice, what you're going to do is you're going to make this circle. Can you see the circle? And the circle has a fist's distance between the tips of your fingers. And what does this shape do for you? What you want to make sure of is you want your shoulders to be down. Your elbows are down. And by having this round shape, you want to make sure that your energy can flow freely from the tip of one hand all the way around your back and out the tips of the other. Okay, so you are smoothly open. So your energy is coming from your feet, through your legs, up your spine, and then distributed to your hands across your back. So how do you know what the shape should feel like? And there is an exercise that you can try. I don't have a good way of showing you, but if you know what wall sitting is, if you are against a wall, let's say you want to bend your knees slightly and you want to have your head against the wall and you'll feel your shoulder blades against the wall and you're going to tuck slightly, okay? So your tailbone is going to go down and you're going to draw your back so that it's against the wall. And it's going to happen because you're pulling your tailbone down. And what this does is it's a really good exercise. In the old days, the masters would make their disciples stand for hours. But what it does is it strengthens your legs. It clears your mind. And it allows you to check two important things. It allows you to check your body structure and your breathing. If you cannot breathe freely, then you know your body is out of alignment. Okay? And you're going to breathe through your belly. Okay? So you're going to do like prenatal breathing. You're going to breathe through your belly and then in and out. So when you're here, you're going to have your breathing in and out. And let's just try standing for, let's say, 3 minutes. That's not, that'll give you a sense of what it's like if we just do 3 minutes. Okay. So let's say we start now. So I'm going to count off 3 minutes. What you should feel is the extension from your back to your fingertips. You should feel your head up and your tailbone down. And make sure that your legs are lined up properly. So just to give you a sense, that was half a minute.
Honey, I'm doing Tai Chi, honey. Jay? What? I'm doing Tai Chi. Oh, I have to go me. Okay. Well, I'll see you later. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay, that's 1 minute. But as you see, as you're standing, you're doing these tiny readjustments. You'll find that your, hands and legs will move a little bit and then they'll get slightly out of a line. And then you have to get them back in shape. So that's 2 minutes. One of the things that I neglected to mention is I want you to feel the soles of your feet. You want to make sure that your entire foot is on the ground. So you're neither, moving toward the balls of your feet or toward your heels, because you want to have a stable root. Okay, that is 3 minutes. So you can start off with that and see if you can keep that is your exercise. I think you'll find that for most people who are starting off, standing is relatively difficult because they're just not used to doing it. But once you get used to doing it, you'll find that you'll have much more stability, that you will have much better breathing because your structure will be better. Okay? So what the other thing that I want you to be aware of in terms of your feet and your standing is that I want you to think about how your weight is distributed in your feet. Okay, so let's do some things that will help your balance. Okay, what we're going to do is some Qigong walking. So I am going to do it toward you so that you can see what it looks like. So if you imagine that there's a line between you and me, and I'm going to put my foot so that I am 45 degrees and the heel is on that line. Then I'm going to move my weight in the direction of that foot, and I'm going to pick up my other foot, and I'm going to put it 45 degrees so that the heel is on that line. So it's one line, two sides of that line, and it's going that way. So then I move my weight forward toward that foot. Then I pick up, set my foot, turn, and move in the direction of that foot. Then pick up, one line, two sides, 45 degrees, and move in the direction of that foot. What you'll find is, if you're doing this slowly, is you're essentially standing on one foot at a time. See, when I'm coming here, when I release this foot, I'm on one foot. Then I'm going to move forward. And there's a hand movement that goes with this. So when I have my foot going there, my hands go there. When I put my foot down and I point my foot the other way, as I move my foot forward, my hands go there. Step, hands, step, hands, step, hands. I'm going to go this way so I can go a longer distance. So I'm going to step, hands, step, hands, step, hands, step, hands. Step, hands, step, hands, step, hands, step, hands. Okay, how did that work? It looks easy, right?
It looks.
Huh?
It's harder than it looks.
It's harder than it looks. It is, because it is a balance exercise. Okay? Because you are standing on one foot at a time. And you're when I step here, I am turning to go this way. And then when I step here, I am turning to go the other way. And what this tells you is how well your body is stacked up. If you are not well stacked up, you will tip over one way or the other. Okay, so this is going to help you give a sense of where your body is, okay, how well you're stacked up, and how you are changing your weight. So let's do this a couple more times so that you can get the sense of weight transfer, okay? You're stepping and you're turning and transferring weight. Step, turn, transfer 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 weight. Okay? So that's Qigong walking. Now we're going to do Tai Chi walking. So how is Tai Chi walking different from Qigong walking? Tai Chi walking is shoulder width apart. Okay, this was one line, two sides. So if I'm doing Tai Chi walking toward you, I have my feet shoulders width apart. And I turn one foot to the corner. Then I put all my weight on that foot, and then I move this foot forward. That's for the first step. The subsequent steps, I'm going to come back and turn, but then my feet are further apart. So I bring in the right foot before I step out. So I come back, I turn. I put all my weight on the front. Then I come in and out. It's really kind of a pass through. Then I come back, 45 degrees. All the weight goes to the front and straight forward. So the back foot is always 45 degrees out and the front foot is straight forward. Okay, so if you look at it from the side, it looks like this. So if I'm starting from opening stance, that is feet parallel, I turn one foot, 45 degrees, put all the weight on it, and step forward. Then heel, ball, toe, bend knee. Then I shift back, I turn 45 degrees, I shift all my weight there, I step through and heel, ball, toe, bend knee. So I do not bend beyond. So basically, I have shoes with shoelaces. So my knee just covers my shoelaces. So I can still see the front part of my foot. Okay? So I come back, I turn. The knee goes in the direction of the toe. Come through, step, heel, ball, toe, bend, knee. So at the end, I am 60% in the front and 40% in the back. I come back, come forward, come through, heel, ball, toe, bend, knee. Now, the thing that's important about this is to keep your knees and toe aligned. So, if I'm here and I'm coming here, I'm this way. My knee is lined up with my toe. I come forward and heel, ball, toe, bend, knee. Can you see my knee is lined up with my uh, foot? But at the same time, I'm keeping my back knee lined up with the back foot. So I am not coming in. So you have to keep your crotch rounded so that you have your structure. If you collapse your knees, not only is it bad for your knees, but also it keeps you from being balanced. So remember to keep your knees and toes lined up. Okay, so when you come back and you turn, your knee is still facing that toe as you move toward this toe. Then you come in, step out, heel, ball, toe, knee lined up, knee lined up. Okay. In some ways, this is easier than the other. Or do you feel that?
It's a close fight.
So? Huh?
It's a close fight.
It's a close fight. The reason why I think of this as being a little easier is because your stance is wider. When you're wider, it seems like it's easier to be stable. When you are close together, it seems that it's easier to wobble.
Yeah.
But you try it both ways and you'll see. Generally speaking, in the form, it will generally be bow stance. And the one line, two sides is generally only for transition steps. Okay. Generally, if you're stepping, you'll be stepping bow stance. Now, there are other kinds of stepping, but in terms of transferring weight and moving forward, it will generally be bow stance. So when you do this, I want you to think also of how you're transferring weight. When you are parallel stance and you move your foot to the corner and you put all your weight on what is going to be your back foot and you start stepping. When you step forward, I want you to think of pushing off the back foot into the front foot. Okay, so you should feel push and then the front foot stops it. So it'll feel like open, step, and then you're pushing forward until the front foot stops it. So this is Dong Chung, okay? So it's push forward and then there's kind of a stopping feeling from the front foot. So when you come back, you turn, you move forward, then you step through, step, push off the back into the front, and the front stops it. Move forward, step through, step, push from the back foot.
Rita, are you not lifting up your back heel
For
when
when?
you're pushing forward with the back? Is your heel on the ground?
So if I'm here, no, I'm stepping forward. So when I'm pushing, my heel is on the ground.
Okay.
It doesn't come up until I pick it up, right? So once I pick it up, I set it straight. And then when I turn, this becomes what I call my plant foot. It's the foot I planned on before I step forward.
Okay.
But then when I transfer weight,
Okay.
both feet are on the ground. And both feet are completely on the ground. Any questions? So when you do your bow stance, you have the back foot 45 and the front forward. When you change direction, you're going to shift back and you're going to turn on the heel of the front foot. Then this becomes your new plant foot. And you're going to pick this up and step. So when you want to change direction, you essentially make your feet parallel. Shift the weight. And change. So in the form, when you do, for example, changing from left ward off to right ward off, you are here. What you're going to do is you're going to come back. You're going to pivot on the heel so that they're parallel. Then you're going to move to the left and then step out. So those are generally the ways you use your bow stance. You're going to do stepping forward and you're going to change direction. And that's how you change direction. So by pivoting on the heel, your feet stay on the ground as long as possible, right? You're here, you're here. Then you're going to push off here. This becomes the plant foot. Pivot and step. Any questions? So, what is your body shape when you do this kind of stepping? What happens is if I am doing a bow stance, what I'm going to do is just when I started at the end of prepare, let's say, and I turn, generally speaking, I come forward and my body shape is tilted. Can you see there's kind of like a line between my neck and the heel of my foot? That is the general shape for bow stand. There are exceptions. And unfortunately, the very first move is an exception, which is left ward off. But generally speaking, when you have this sense of pushing and then essentially stopping back, you are going to be as in push. Okay, you have that feeling of the energy coming out of the heel of your foot and coming out your hands. That's what you should feel. So your body shape helps you transfer energy. If you do not have good body shape, essentially your energy will not go straight in the direction you want it to go. So that's why stacking is important. Okay. So try to practice standing. And when you stand, try to straighten your spine. I want you to straighten your spine by dropping your tailbone. Okay. I don't want you to think of it like a pelvic tilt. And the reason why I say that is I don't want you to constrain your breathing. I don't want you to contract your abdomen, right? Because then you can't breathe through your abdomen if you are tightening up, right? So think about dropping your spine in the back rather than tightening up your front. So when you stand, think of this as being free so that you can breathe naturally. And you have this relaxed feeling because this relaxed feeling is going to free you to move efficiently. Okay? You want efficient use of your body. So you want your bones to be stacked up and you want your muscles and tendons and fascia all to be ready to move, but relaxed. So you don't want to pre-tension things. You want things to be relaxed until you actually want them to move. So when you have, so when you're here, when you actually strike, what's going to happen is your energy is coming out of your heel and out your hand. Okay, so you're relaxed until you actually strike. And that's what you want. You want that sense of whippiness that, your energy is concentrated, it's coming up from the ground and out your hand. So there is an old Greek story about the labors of Hercules, and one of the things that Hercules had to do was to defeat Antaeus, who was a very, very famous wrestler. And Antaeus had never been defeated. And Hercules found out the secret of Antaeus. And that was that he was the son of Gaia. And Gaia is the goddess of the earth. So what happens is no matter how hard people pushed him, he could always get strength from his mother, the earth. So when Hercules found this out, when he encountered Antaeus, the first thing he did was he lifted him off the ground and he crushed him. And you are going to try to be like Antaeus. You are going to draw your energy from the ground. And what does that mean? That means, insofar as possible, when you have your standing foot, what I think of as your plant foot, make sure that the whole foot is on the ground. And when you step, make sure your whole foot is on the ground when you're transferring energy. Because if you don't, you will not get the full benefit of the what they call ground force. Okay, any questions? So I want to emphasize this notion of yin and yang because the form is based on yin and yang. So when you move forward, do not move so far you cannot come back. Okay, so that is why I don't want you to go beyond your toes. Okay, because if you go beyond, what happens is you cannot easily come back. You have to kind of push up in order to get back. You want to be able to always move smoothly. Okay. And that is a matter of control. Okay. You want to have control. The other thing that you should be careful of is that you want your body structure to be light on the top and heavy on the bottom. So you have the head up, everything else sinking down, your energy coming out of your spine into your hands. Okay, you have to have your straight spine, and you have to make sure that your legs are aligned, your knees are aligned with your toes. And that way you won't get injured, and you'll find that you will be able to do things much more smoothly and breathe better. So, any questions on that? Yes.
When you're talking about not stepping too far forward so that you can bring your foot back and your energy back, do you still, when you come back, bring your front foot in and then down, like going forward, you bring it in and then you step out?
Well,
Right? But do you,
okay. So when I step through to come out,
right?
okay, I also step that way to go back.
Okay.
So if I'm doing repulse monkey, okay, if I'm here,
Yeah, you do.
see here?
Uh-huh.
Well, actually, I don't, because here, because I'm stepping, the reason I don't is I'm stepping one line, two sides.
Okay.
I have to step, I'm stepping through when I'm going to bow stance because I'm shoulders width apart. But when I do repulse monkey, I am one line, two sides so that I don't have to, because I'm already in, right? So we don't have anything where you step backwards into bow stance,
I was just going to ask you that. That's a really interesting thought.
you know, because when we step back to repulse monkey, you see I'm one line, two sides.
Or even golden rooster, it's the same thing.
Golden roosters is the same thing. Well, golden rooster it's the same thing, but in some ways more exaggerated because it's a one-legged stance, right? So all your weight
Right.
is on one leg, right?
Never step back into a bow stance. That is very interesting.
It would be very clumsy to step back into a bow stance because it's so wide.
Yeah, good point. Funny, I just never thought about that.
Yeah, it's the danger actually in repulsed monkey is that people step too narrow.
Yeah.
They cross, you know, which makes you unstable. So, you know, the idea of pulling in has to do with how stable do you feel? Okay, if your feet are really far apart, then you're going to pull in before you step out. If as in the beginning, you are already shoulders width apart, then you just step forward, right? But once you get wider than shoulders width apart, then you pull in to stabilize and then step out. That make sense?
Or like the turn for ladies, just the shuttle number 2. It's such a big turn. You have to bring your foot in to be able to step out again because you're never going to make it around. Be balanced.
Yes. So for that one, here you're stepping to straight, but then you're coming out. So you do step in and out. And the same for diagonal flying.
Mhm.
You're in and then out. Okay. Any questions about that? Next time we're going to do more on stances because we're going to review bow stance, but also we're going to talk about empty stances because a lot of people actually have a hard time with empty stances because you don't get the kind of weight transfer that you get with a bow stance. When you're going to the bow stance, it's obvious that you have a plant leg, you're coming forward, and you're going heel ball toe, bend knee, and you have 60 in the front and 40 in the back, and you are going forward. Because the empty stances are not going forward, you have a harder time figuring out how your weight is going to work and why the weight works that way. So we'll talk about that next time. Okay, any questions on bow stance? Any questions on yin and yang? So the important thing about yin and yang is that each contains the other. So when you see the yin yang symbol, you have a little seed of the other in the body. I think I have it here. So you see, there's a little seed of the black in the white and a little seed of the white in the black. So you can see that each contains the other and transforms into the other. And that's why it's important that you move continuously. Because if you move continuously, then the transformation works smoothly. Okay. So when you are coming forward and then back, you can see that everything moves so that one thing becomes the next thing. Okay? So in order to do that, get a good body structure and relax. Okay? Make sure that you don't have any tightened muscles or, you know, make sure that you can move freely. And that's the whole idea. Move freely. Okay, let's close class. So we'll salute, be together. Fist, paper, thumb hidden. 同学们再见.
老师再见。
So there you have it. And thank you for coming to class.
Thank you,
And
Rita.
I'll look forward to seeing you next time.
Thanks,
We'll
Rick.
do more stepping.